All right, let's get into it. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're not just comparing AI tools. Nope. We are fast-forwarding to the year 2026, and we're going to build an entire development team. We're going to be interviewing the top AI candidates to assemble the perfect crew for your next big project.
So, picture this. It's 2026. The whole AI landscape, it's completely different. The models we're using, they aren't just tools you call from a command line anymore. They've become specialized, almost like actual members of our dev teams.
So here's the mission. We need to build a full-stack app from the ground up. I'm talking database, user logins, a slick front end, the whole 9 yards. And the big question isn't if an AI is going to help us. Of course it is. The real question is, who do we hire for the job? So let's meet our 4 main candidates.
First up, we've got Claude. Now, don't think of Claude as some kind of generalist. No, Claude is your team's code surgeon. This is the specialist you call in when things get complicated and you need precision.
Yeah, its whole vibe is elegance, safety, and precision. See, Claude doesn't just, spit out code. It crafts it. We're talking clean, secure, perfectly idiomatic code. This is the team member that makes sure everything is done by the book. No shortcuts, ever.
And what's really fascinating about Claude by 2026 is that it's not just one thing. It's a whole family of specialized models. So think of it like this. You bring in Opus, the deep thinker, to handle all the high-level architecture and the security blueprints. Then you take those plans and hand them over to Sonnet, who's the specialist, the doer, who actually writes the code fast and super efficiently.
This whole approach leads to a really structured workflow. So you start with Opus to architect the system, and this is key, we're talking pure planning here. No code yet. Once that blueprint is locked in, then you switch over to Sonnet to generate all the boilerplate and the core components. And for the final step, you use the Claude API to weave those AI features right into your app. It's just a super clean, professional process from beginning to end.
Okay, next up for interview, Gemini. Now, if Claude is our surgeon, then Gemini is the technical co-founder. This is the team member who gets the entire project vision right from day one.
And Gemini's core superpower? It's that massive context window. I mean, it is so huge, it completely changes how you develop software. We're not talking about looking at one file at a time here. We are talking about understanding the entire project all at once. And this isn't just, nice to have, it's a total game changer. It means you need way less documentation and fewer comments because Gemini just knows the context.
Just look at that number. Over 2 million tokens. That's not just a little step up, it's a complete paradigm shift. So what does that actually mean for you as a developer?
It means this. Gemini can literally ingest your entire code base, every single file, every dependency, every line of code, all at once. It has the full picture all the time. And that makes it absolutely incredible for things like complex refactoring or just keeping everything consistent across a huge project.
And of course, that big picture understanding leads to its own unique workflow. You'd probably start in Google's AI Studio to hammer out a prototype. Then you'd jump over to your local terminal and use Gemini Code Assist for the actual implementation, just letting it manage the whole repository. It's just so deeply baked into that whole developer ecosystem.
All right, on to our third candidate, ChatGPT. By 2026, it's really evolved. It's basically become the ultimate project manager, that collaborative, multi-talented partner that just keeps everything and everyone moving forward.
Its real strength is what OpenAI calls unified intelligence. And what that means is, it's not just about text anymore, not by a long shot. ChatGPT can seamlessly blend text, complex logic, and even image analysis all into one single experience. It's really become the Swiss Army knife of the team. And its killer feature has to be the canvas. Now, this is not your typical chat window where you're copying and pasting code back and forth. No way. It's a shared, collaborative workspace. You and the AI are literally editing and building the code together, side by side, in real time. And this is where that multimodal power really shines. With its Fix with Vision feature, you can just show it a screenshot of your code and whatever error message you're getting. And like the source material says, it is eerily good at spotting those tiny syntax errors. The ones a human might stare at for hours and completely miss just by looking at it.
And that brings us to our fourth and final candidate, Grok. So if the others have these very specific roles, Grok is your lead engineer. It's direct, it's powerful, and it is just built for raw performance.
Yep, that's Grok's whole vibe. Direct, witty, and fast. There is zero fluff here. This is for the developer who wants the right answer and they want it now. Sure, it's got a bit of a personality, but its #1 focus is always speed and efficiency.
What really sets Grok apart is just how direct it is. You ask it how to set up a backend, and it's not going to give you some long, drawn-out tutorial. Nope, it's going to give you the exact terminal commands you need to run right now. It is absolutely built for action.
Now, the secret sauce behind Grok's speed and accuracy is its technology. By 2026, it's running on what's called an agentic architecture. The best way to think about it is like a little internal assembly line. You've got one agent that writes the code, another one that reviews it for errors, a third one runs tests, and a fourth one fixes any bugs it finds, and this all happens before you even see a single line of it.
Okay, so we've interviewed our 4 candidates. We've met the surgeon, the co-founder, the project manager, and the lead engineer. So the big question is, how do we put them all together to create the perfect crew?
Let's break it down side by side. If you need raw coding logic, you hire Grok. Simple as that. For that elegant, super clean code, you're going to turn to Claude. When you absolutely need someone who understands the entire repository, well, Gemini is the undisputed king of context. And for that collaborative, visual debugging, nothing's going to beat ChatGPT in its vision skills. See, each one has a very clear, very specialized strength.
You know, the most important thing to take away from all this is that you don't have to pick just one. In fact, you shouldn't. The professional workflow in 2026 is all about being hybrid. So maybe you start with Gemini to use its huge context window for the initial architecture. But then, when you get to a really tricky algorithm, you can take just that little snippet over to Claude, our specialist, to get a second opinion. It's all about managing your team based on their individual strengths.
And really, this is the new reality of software development. You're not just a coder anymore. You're more like the manager of a super specialized, incredibly powerful AI team. So the only question that's really left to ask is, now that your crew is all assembled, what are you going to build?